Today is May 4th, 2026. Well, I worked last night with everything, having a hard time sleeping. I wanted to make sure I got everything done before I lay down and rested today, after I got off from work. So I went out and I had a couple of phone calls I had to make. And then we went over to FedEx in Belden. Okay? Where I sent a bunch of emails with where to find the evidence, where to find it under surveillance, and people saying it, okay, and the case. Sent another letter out to the White House, another one now to the DOJ, to the OPR, okay. While I was in there was a girl dressed like, basically you would think a Barbie doll, dressed up in heels and a suit. She kept her around looking at me. You know, that's where I always think, like, Fed, or are you going out with the king today? Because you get usually the ones dressed up like Barbie dolls, they go out with somebody they call the king. You have to look perfect to go out with him. Yeah, I don't want to ever do that because you could end up dead. Because he's a drug dealer. He's a fentanyl dealer. See, I got all that stuff out, mailed. Had to, I was trying to get into like a stack care. A couple years ago, I do home health care. A client went to throw his body down with a walker. He was 200 pounds. Had to hold him up. I pulled the one side of my back and my neck holding him up. Well, it started spasming. Well, I've been under a lot of stress, and then I had that laser treatment. It's tight. And back when my muscles locked up years ago, I had to go through trigger point injections. Those things are brutal. I used to get like 30 at a time. But they work. And then I found out I have to have a referral. Well, the doctor isn't very nice to me at my, where I go to my community. I told you what happened on April 9th, 26th, that when the nurse came in, and I reported them to the medical board. I said I have a lot of injuries from drug dealers. My ex got caught up with them, okay? And I didn't know, and I started getting sick. I'm waking up with bruises. I'm throwing up. I'm losing weight. Horrible amount of weight. And I said, and when I realized what was going on, I said I had already reported him, da-da-da-da. She walks out. I go to use the bathroom. She's out there. So unprofessional. Oh, my Lord. Is that how she's supposed to act at work? No. And then think about how dumb she's acting. The FBI was here making fun of her for saying drug dealers were after her. I could barely keep a straight face. When they picked up her medical records, I thought, who the hell did you give my medical records to? Officer Mark got them in 2018. And it's right on Google. The FBI does not go around making fun of people. They can go to jail for that. They can't make fun of one of the informants. It's like 5 to 20 years. That's where, who the hell did those people give my medical records to? Then the doctor comes in. He's always been rude and snotty. Like the investigator said, those people have been in there bad-mouthing them. Well, they were to throw them out. By law, they were to throw them out. They were to give it to the main office. They were to call the courthouse, make sure any kind of court order is legit. You don't just hand somebody else's medical records. They probably gave them to the drug cartel. Because why would they need them? Exactly. Well, he goes after, he gets smart with me in front of my husband, the doctor. And he walks out. He said, I got a phone call to make. He picks up the phone. Now they got cameras in there. You need to find out who he called. He said, I know you like watching her. It's funny. She was yelling at drug dealers when she was yelling at us. Oh, because I was yelling at drug dealers. Real ones. I know, yeah. And I reported them. People, because my phone is bugged by the police and the FBI. These people sold it. Well, investigators showed up and they're like, who's watching her? And what does he mean that Auburn Hospital doctors are part of drug dealers, drug beating, raping her? And she really was yelling at drug dealers. And Officer Mark already got her medical records from them in 2018 and said it was a medical malpractice and medication errors that made her sick before. So who was in that office they give those people to? Those records to? Someone needs to find out. That's how not funny it is. Well, the thought of going back in there again to say, hey, this muscle retightened back up. I need to go, to pain management, get a shot in it, steroid shot in it, make it relax. He's so rude, he'll probably say, just put a bag of ice on it, you'll be fine. That's the kind of attitude I get. Like they said, they've been in there bad-mouthing her, until he doesn't care anything about her. That's why she don't like him. He's rude. Or I know, and he should know better. I was at Ohio Neck and Ear and Throat Surgeon a year ago. I had a ball of wax stuck to the inside of my ear. They couldn't get it out in the office. I went over there, and I went to go in the back, and they were complaining. Some lady psychiatrist was here. Said that if she ever tells anybody she was part of an FBI case. No one's to believe her. We told them we didn't want to hear it, and we threw her out. She probably was part of an FBI case. That's why they were going around bad-mouthing her. Exactly. Because what did they say April 30th, 26 in either the Lions Walmart or the Walmart 62? Those girls following me around? Their mom was telling people that she was a psychiatrist. Telling everybody not to believe her, not to help her. And it was just us saying it. Can you believe it? Everybody was falling for it and go along with it. And it was just my mom telling people she was a psychiatrist. She's no psychiatrist. And laughed at people. I don't have a psychiatrist. See, that's where when these people are done with their con, they leave. And they mock them before they leave, so they realize they've been fooled. May 2nd, 26, I'm in Belden. I go to sales. There's some guy off in the distance talking. You tell those people no one's to say a word to her in her life. That lady her kids were laughing that she's no psychiatrist. And it's just her saying it. She was telling everybody she was going to help them get away with all this. And here she was just saying she was a psychiatrist. And she's not. You tell everybody not to say a word. HIPAA violations, no doctor could talk to you. So the thought of one actually breaking them, yeah, guy needs fired, so is that nurse. You need to find out who else's medical records they gave away. Well, today we went down. I came home and I went to sleep. I was so sick. I was cold. I didn't feel good. I went to sleep for a couple hours. Woke up. Got ready. Took Carl. We went to go down to his old farm to walk and house him. Okay. We stopped at the Bell store in Magnolia. Some guys in there. That's the one that the Kingsman said nobody should care she's out because she's so fat and ugly. You do realize what the Kingsmen are. They're fentanyl dealers. They're drug dealers. They're pimps. They're human traffickers. They sell women and children for sex slaves and to be murdered. They're down there. You can see big trucks driving around. And like scavenging. They're looking for people they could eventually grab and sell, make money off of, Who they can set up buying cameras in their homes, run a drug scam, break in and stab them with a hypnotic drug, tell them to say something stupid, Photoshop washing. They think where they said a year ago, we got to find somebody dumb enough to arrest her and stupid enough to do it with that open FBI case. They think Tuscarawas County and Carroll County is dumb and stupid. And they're down there. They're going to start, they don't realize the hell that is getting ready to come upon them. We're in Stark, Summit, and then down in Columbus, and up in Cleveland. We all know about the human traffickers. Because they were here. They grabbed a lot of people. Sold a lot of women and children. People disappeared. People's bank accounts got hacked. We were in Keep Bank in Louisville a year ago, and I was talking to the bank manager. She said thousands of people's bank accounts in this area have been hacked. People have lost all kinds of money, and they don't know how they're doing it. They set up buying cameras in people's homes. They don't know they're watching them. That's how they're doing it. They also set them up in businesses. So, yeah. It's a drug cartel. So, what is Carrollton? New Philly. Yeah, Roy. Like some lady said a week ago, nobody's happy they're coming down here. Oh, you ought to be scared to death. Rich farmers. You'd be scared to death. Old people. Because what are they going to do to your bank accounts? They're going to rob you. What are they going to do to your women and children? They're going to sell them. What are they going to do? They're running drug scams on you. So when they say the Kingsmen from Texas, do they really work for a king? They work for a drug lord. For we all work for the king from Texas. We are his men. Dave hired us. He's a drug lord. You look him up. He is Iraqi. He's a U.S. military Iraqi translator, went into the dark web malware. He's a hacker. Fentanyl king. He's a fentanyl dealer. So is his men. They are human traffickers. And they're drug dealers. And they sell women and children for sex slaves and to be murdered. And I'm supposed to be offended that they called me fat? Okay. Good to go. See where that guy was screaming how fat I was at the mall? Nobody should care about her, how fat she is. None of those guys that want to go out with her. It's a code word for Sal. See, that's where I talked to a retired CIA agent. She said, you can tell you've been around the human traffickers, Karen, the way you stand, the way you talk, the way you act. Screams mafia, mama. I said, well, they'd walk by and bully me from my hair to my clothes, how I stood, how I talked, and they bullied me in public till I changed. She said, you better be careful. The special outfit will come out. I said, I heard about that. She said, that means you're sold. And if they tell you you're gorgeous, that means they want to kill you. Well, the word, if they want to take you out or date you, that means sell you. I already figured that one out. These are drug dealers. These are pimps. These are human traffickers. These are serial killers. These are child molesters that sell women and children for sex slaves and to be murdered. Hold on a second. So, do I care if they called me fat? No. You know where the guy yelled out in the mall the other day? He said, why don't you just go back to smoking? Well, the original cartel didn't want her to smoke. They wanted to sell her for body parts. Well, that's not what we want to sell her for. I'll stay fat, thank you. Well, nobody's ever going to want her. Maybe I'm good. I'm good. See, that's where they would talk about cutting people up for body parts. It's like, look, I smoke, my lungs are ruined. I have a birth defect in my heart. My heart's not good either. I have had to have kidney surgery. Kidneys aren't good any good. I gained weight. I probably have fatty liver disease. There's no reason to kill me. It's all bad inside. Just leave it alone. Don't even waste your time, money, or effort. There's nothing good inside. It's all wrong. See, there's where a point in time, they act like it's such a great deal to be murdered for these people. They're nuts. But I did to totally change the subject. And, well, we'll finish this part up. And in 18, they said Bill from the Freemason was going to run a big scam here of who could steal her informant money. He put it up on the chopping block. Whoever could come up with the best scam to steal her money would get it. Like he had authority over it. Okay, that's where all the scams come from. That's where May 25th, 25, teenage boys in Hollister's and Summit Mall boarded Bill from the Freemasons run the biggest scam here. He had some guy go in and drug her up and tell her to say that. He had some guy tape her in the shower washing herself and then Photoshop that in the other room. Ran a scam off of it. Who could steal her money and scammed everyone into helping out. Okay? That's where April 24th, 25, Summit Mall, the Texas groups there. Muslims, they're up in Summit Mall area. Brearlawn, Medina, a lot of them. Henry Moffitt, you've seen him up there several times. Okay. Yelled out, you tell that guy Will here that was to pull off a scam here to join us, that it's all ruined. Because that Michelle told on him that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. And she doesn't know who he is. You tell him since she ruined it, tell him when we said to take care of her. They yelled it out in the mall. And then they started leaving threats on that little girl's life. And then she went badass on them. I'm so proud I started telling on them. April 19th, 25. Hartville Flea Market. Investigators over there. How dumb are these people? You wouldn't believe how dumb they are to try this. Trust me. Or wait a minute. You wouldn't believe how dumb these people are. As soon as she called the FBI hotline, immediately walked into an FBI office. Confessed they were illegally monitoring her on their own. And trust me, nobody ever fell for the dirty doctor scam. Taping you unaware, confessing a crime, sat on it till they've wanted a divorce. And you could tell she was drunk and the rest sounded mechanical, and you knew they altered everything. I can beat that. I don't even know who it was. They're saying that it was Dave's girlfriend's dad, that Henry Moffitt, that did it. But Dave told Danny it was some guy named Pete he hired on his own. I never met him. It's a black and blue mark. Being stabbed with a drug as you walk by a room and you didn't know nobody was in your home. It's that bad. And then coming out, thinking you got bit or stung, and then you go sit down. It's like, ow. Huh? And then you got bruises, throwing up, severely infected. You think the dirty well water you showered in is giving you cancer. Going to the doctor saying that and confused and sick and throwing up. And here, drug dealers are drug raping you in your own home. It's that bad. Got the idea? I'm running a drug scam on you. Where they said nobody ever fell for it. They could tell you that I was drugged when they drugged me and told me to say it before, and parts of it sounded mechanical. And the tape of Weird with Yourself, they knew it was photoshopped of washing in the shower. And they photoshopped that. And if they were going to be that dumb, we told Agent John to go tell on her to that church that she called the FBI hotline before he spoke to her and act dumb like these people to find out who was involved. And trust me, everybody knew how not funny this was. When the other group showed up and said they work for a drug lord and Dave hired them. See, that's where people run around and act like the Kingsmen are so great. They're Muslims. They work for Iraqi. That are drugging people for fake confessions, beating, raping them in their own home. Photoshopping things and trying to scam money out of the government. And they are selling U.S. women and children for sex slaves and to be murdered, and they're fentanyl dealers and pimps. Where do you think fentanyl dealers and pimps are funny? It's not a real king, it's a drug dealer. They're all drug dealers. So why do you think he's funny? See, that's where I was always told that the agent, it was an act, where he told on me for calling the hotline, told people he knew I was being drugged, beaten, raped, didn't care. Because some idiot called me a faker. 15 years before that's been 23 years now. And it was medication error, medical malpractice, and fraud. Almost killed me. Took me 9 months to get well. And him acting like a crazy occult person on the phone. Made me beg for my life. Listed me informant and threatened me if I told. It's illegal for an agent to tell on you. It's 5 to 20 years. It's illegal for an FBI agent to what? To tell you can't say anything or no one will help you. To withhold protection from any informant or victim. It could go into aiding and abetting crimes, attempted murder, obstruction of justice, and tampering with a witness. The same thing if they tell you you don't get your money if you say anything. It's 5 to 20 years. And if they take your money, it's 20 to 30. Because it's theft out of government funds. And they don't have the authority to ask you to stay quiet or threaten you. And then someone's actually already told them on a recorded line that it becomes stupid. And it takes a judge and a jury trial due to the freedom of speech. Because if you look at police officers, they're all police officers. They all can arrest each other. A local police officer does local area, sheriffs do county. State patrol does state highways. They're all police officers where you work. Then you have federal police officers that can work anywhere in the United States. It's just where you can work. They can work FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigators, Secret Service, and U.S. Marshals. Those are federal police officers. And then we have ICE that does border control. And immigration. See what I mean? It's where you work. And they're just all police officers. The local can arrest any kind of federal agent. They're just police officers. It takes the First Amendment, takes a judge and a jury trial to put a gag order on you. No one has the right to take your freedom of speech away outside a jury trial or something like that. It has to be a judge. Not a cop, not an agent. Matter of fact, it is a federal crime of blackmail. Obstruction to justice, tampering with a witness, tampering with evidence, aiding and abetting crimes, theft out of government funds, and a crime against the United States government because it's theft out of their funds. That's how not funny Agent John is. And then that Dave's old girlfriend, Michelle, you know how mad I get when people show up? Well, she begged all of us for her to give her money. Now, she's in debt to drug dealers. She confessed September 30th, 25, after 1 o'clock in the morning. The guys running it that was in the Florida drug cartel told a bunch of people not to say a word to me again in my life. Okay? Some biker brought her down and yelled at her under police surveillance. They said not to say a word to her again in her life, that this whole thing was your family's debt to drug dealers. Is that what's going on? Yes. Does she even know who you are? No, I don't want her to know. She doesn't even know who you are. And you had her skull bashed in, you had her raped and tortured because your family was in debt to drug dealers? Yes, I'm sorry. She's sorry. Well, whose debt is it? It's hers. So who should have paid for it? She should have. Not me. She should have. Right? Why should I pay for somebody I've never met's debt? I shouldn't. And then he said, I I listened to her and her friend Matt, January 13th, 23, that the Ohio drug dealers were threatening that agent's life over. They thought that he was letting all those people be human trafficked. It was your family letting them be human trafficked? Yes. And it was your family human trafficking to pay back those debts to drug dealers? Yes, I'm sorry. She was just selling women and children because she was in debt. But she's sorry. She sold little kids to her sex slaves and to be murdered, to perverts. But she's sorry. And people are helping steal for her. Why? Oh, people were mad after that. From everywhere. That was up north, and they were clear down into Philly, North Camp, Mass, and everybody was talking about that Michelle confessing to human trafficking. And that this whole thing was her family's debt to drug dealers. Yeah. All right. So then he said, I listened to September of 23, where the original cartel confronted her ex-husband if he knew if it was fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors that made her sick before. Did you know that? Yes. Did you know the original cartel already admitted they photoshopped everything? Yes. I found out it was your family that told her new husband's family that they could threaten his life and terrorize him to steal his farm. Is that what's going on? Yes, but I really wanted the farm. I liked it. Like, it makes it okay. See, that's where people in Maslin were even complaining. Nobody should say a word to her. That Will was running the scam for Michelle to get everything. Oh, they even said that around Ravenna Courthouse in 18 to 19. That he was running a scam for Michelle to get everything. Why would she deserve anything? She even admitted to human trafficking women and children to pay off her drug debt. Nobody ought to say a word to her again in life. People are harming her because Michelle's in debt to drug dealers. Oh, people were complaining in Canton, New Philly, in October 25 down in KFC. My God, nobody better say a word. That other Michelle admitted to human trafficking people and pay off her family's debt. We were all helping out because that poor family needed help with their drug debt. Why would you help out? See, that's where, why would you help out? See, that's where, why would you help out? Why would you? To scam money out of the FBI to pay off this girl's drug debt. Why? Why wouldn't you just make up some fake GoFundMe pages for cancer for a little kitten? People would have gave you millions. Huh? Why don't you just make up some fake GoFundMe pages? Still fraud. At least nobody got hurt. Why wouldn't you do something like that? See, that's where Henry Maffei admitted he was doing this, so that has to be her dad, how he never met me in person. See, all these people are mad too, where this other lady that was running a scam of being a fake psychiatrist, telling people not to believe and help me, and it's just some lady saying she was. And then I found out the doctor from before that's not one of mine works for them, and they had lied because they lied as HIPAA. I found out it's supposed to be Henry Maffei, that Michelle's dad, that he admitted he never met me in person. See, that's where these people are just saying they're people, and they're not. It's a scam. Get it? It's just a scam. Think about this. Officer Mark in August of 23, should be like the 17th to the 22nd, was a Tuesday, between noon and 1. My car's bugged, my phone's bugged. He's out there. He said, none of this is funny. Lady said, did her ex-husband defend her? He said, yes, we taped him. So did I. Said, well, then they had to framed her. He said, it's documented and verified she was framed before. Was it the drug cartel? Yes, we've seen them. So who was in my home before? Drug cartel. I extremely doubt there's an attorney's office messed up in the drug cartel. I'm not saying that they can't be, because they've arrested several attorney's offices messed up in drug cartel. Do I believe the guy's actually attorney? No, because he doesn't seem to know a law from his asshole from a hole in the ground. Like the right of privacy, HIPAA violations, you can't drug somebody. I mean, he acts like a crazy crackhead. See, that's where I don't believe his attorney's office. I bet they're just saying it. Just like I said, there was a retired Judge Pete friends with Ludic letting him get away with crimes, and then they found out it's just some guy saying he was a retired judge. Just like these people were trying to say they were doctors and they're not. See what I mean? Because then I want you to think about this, where they say, oh, Melissa has an attorney. Melissa don't have an attorney. That's where she didn't make up the mean games of pretend to help the FBI case. Two guys that said they worked for the drug lord said that she was willing to help him get away with this and she was going to have the kids lie. You're kidding. No, I told her to say, and they're laughing. Okay. Then Melissa got followed around. She got taped telling her kids a lie, and her kids stating on Thanksgiving at 18, a legally booked house, that they wanted the house for Auntie Cheryl Papa, the girl that human traffics, the wanted that to drug dealers. And grandma needed to get out. And later on the floor, they were making everything up. They were games of pretend sick shit. I didn't know about it for a year. The FBI and police had a huddle within a few days of Thanksgiving of 18. Why are they having those kids make all that shit up? Oh, they're just trying to scare her into giving up the house. That's it. Her whole family was speaking highly of her. Okay? Melissa's so stupid she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. Officer marked Melissa could go to jail for involving herself with this. I'd hate to arrest her. Why don't we just write it up? Her and her kids were showing off for Dave and his new girlfriend. They're documenting me games of pretend. Nobody went to the hospital. There's no police report. There's no pictures of injuries. There's no treatment for injuries. There's no police investigation. There's no physical evidence, anything, because they're mean jokes. Documented mean jokes. Like Massillon Police, June 23rd to July 4th of 21 to Mount Carmel, Illinois. They're documenting me games of pretend. She never hurt anyone. Just like October 5th, 21, in front of a client, they were talking about her and her kids lying. We go to leave. He's like, who's that crazy Melissa? They all talk about lying everywhere we go. Just like October 23rd, 2019, Flora. Of course, it never happened. Of course, it wasn't true. We made it up. They were games of pretend. Like the Stark County Sheriff's in May of 21. If Kurt just found out those kids were lying, he's slow. So you can't just make up a mean game of pretend and get money. You actually, like even Agent John's, the girl that claims that she's his girlfriend, April 28th, 26th, in Walmart Alliance, walks by. How dumb are these people? You can't just make up something like that and get money out of this. And you sure can't roofie someone and tell them to say something and think you can use it against them. You have to have proof of something like that actually happened in prosecution before you can even say a word. You can't just make it up. So does she have an attorney? No, because I had a dog bite attorney, a personal injury. She said it's rules for everything. You have to prove you were hurt. You have to go to the hospital. They have to treat you for injuries. They have to have pictures of injuries. You have to have the treatment for afterwards. You have to have a police report. They have to do a police investigation. Because I had a dog bite, I had to have a dog warden. And then you're proof that you were actually hurt. You have to prove you were harmed. So sitting around laughing, making up stuff, they have nothing. They're mean jokes. And then you can't just have a witness. You have to have physical evidence. I had to have the DNA from the dog biting on my jacket, lunching not. I couldn't wash that jacket until after they settled with me. You have to have physical evidence that person did it, or that animal, because they could always say somebody else or some other animal did it. So since they're mean jokes, do they have a case? No. You can't even open one. See, that's where I had to find out during the case where I had bruises throwing up, and they were laughing where I'd walk by and you think something bit you, something stung you, smack at your arm or leg, and then you got sit down, take a drink in the room, go dizzy and black. You never seen or talked to anybody. Come on, you got bruises. You never left your home. You never let anybody in. They're laughing. They're hiding behind doors, stabbing you with drugs in your own home. They're hiding in your home, predators, and then having you beat and raped under drugs. That's not funny. And drugged up and told to say horrible stuff. They had to yell it at me. I ran and threw up and had diarrhea at the same time. I was so horrified. And Jim, my one neighbor, when he was alive, he's like, that'd be horrible if they actually did that, Karen. I said, I never seen her talk to anybody. I had real bruises. I was really throwing up. I was really infected. I really had to go to the doctor. I never even had my neighbors in my home. And they're laughing at me in front of people. And one of my clients came over and said, I can't have her work for me. They're making fun of her in stores. They drugged her and told her to say weirdo stuff. What if they do it to me? And he was too afraid of the people that were laughing at me. And, yeah. I mean, it was horrible. They mocked me everywhere that they drugged me and told me to say it before. And I didn't know. And to me, they could be playing me. I never seen her talk to anybody. All right. So, you can't enter a roofie. Like Agent John's girlfriend said, you can't enter a roofie. You had to have proof somebody actually was harmed, where they thought they made it out that I would be a horrible person. They could just kill me, and I'm not. My kids were never abused. July 26, 25, an investigator from 18, an FBI agent, came in, said, I told that couple never to say a word to her again. I interviewed John years ago, 18. 7.5 years ago. He said nothing bad ever happened to him. July 7th, 25, they went to Dr. Haben's office on Frank Road. He verified he'd seen the kids between 1984 and 2002, 18 years, that several times a year, and there was never any sign of any abuse, no neglect, and very well taken care of. He verified their MD doctor, they were never abused. Okay? So you can't just roofie someone. See, I think they thought the FBI was so dumb. They would walk in there, not only would he open a real case and then hand them money, but I think he thought they would lock me up for a roofie. You can't just roofie people in their home. They never even seen or talked to you. And that's where you can't just make up a scenario like that. Even Agent John's girlfriend said they can't just roofie someone to make up a scenario. You have to have proof it happened. See, none of my kids were ever seen for abuse. Wasn't even a concern. They never even had, like Dr. Haben said, I never had to worry about one time that you ever abusing your children or them never being neglected. They were always well taken care of. See what I mean? That's what he told them. They were very well taken care of. There was no sign of any abuse, or he would have reported it. So that's where there's no proof. It'd be like them roofing me and telling me to say that I robbed the Bank of Arizona and shot 2 security guards, and they call out to Arizona and there's no bank been robbed and no security guard shot. They just made it up, just roofied somebody and told them to say something stupid and beat on them, and they don't even know who did it. It's that bad. They thought they were smart asses. You actually have to have proof. You have to have, somebody would have had to went to the hospital, doctor, pictures of injuries, police reports, prosecution. You can't just roofie somebody. That's stupid. You don't get any money for that. You go to jail. See, that's where, when the case first started, they said, we have the right to drug her to get the truth out of her, whether they were drugging me and framing me. We use sodium pentothal reports. And then they said they used hypnotic drugs and told me to say it. And they laughed in my face last year. Then over the years, repeatedly, how they drugged me and told me to say it before, made fun of the FBI, made fun of everyone. See what I mean? Then they lied on Danny and Jen that they reported the tape of Weird with Yourself, the shower scene in the other room. They didn't know anything about it. They told the lady investigator they didn't know anything about it and they won't have anything to do with it. They didn't know anything about button cameras and that I had giant bruises all over me, throwing up and almost passing out. They weren't putting it together. Somebody was hurting me and they are not going to be part of this. So they didn't even report it either. And John defended me on Thanksgiving of 18 that no one could say anything bad about me. Years later, asked me to be a reliable name to pick up his kids from school on a court record, and I couldn't help him because I was working 2 jobs. I didn't get off the first one, let alone the second one. I barely made it. Asked me to be a reliable name on a court record to watch his kids. I have all kinds of text messages into 2020, 21 of I love you, Mom, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. My son was not part of it. June 13th, 14th of 25, I found out they had somebody impersonate John, and when people found out he lived in Florida for years, nobody thought it was funny. Like I said, there's people just saying who they are. They had somebody impersonate my mother, badmouth me. My mother's been in Illinois since 2003 and been back to Ohio. Think of that. She never badmouthed me with Dave. She hates Dave. See what I mean? These people are just saying they're people, and they're not. It's drug cartel. Where Matt said that his one person he knew on a racetrack knew a drug dealer. He went to talk to him. He said that it's a drug scam from the drug dealers that are human trafficking people. Now, think this is where the Anita and Pam at Apostolic Church of Barberton were talking. Mary's niece, Michelle, was willing to kill someone to date Dave, and Dave was so excited he never had anybody willing to kill someone just to date him. That poor family that's in debt needs his help. It's Katie's mom is Mary, Anita's her aunt, and it is her mom's niece, Michelle, and Henry Muffy's her dad. And it's their debt to drug dealers. And they're stealing from the government. And they're laughing they stole $5 million. It's that bad. It's that bad. It's literally that bad. I wrote the president again. I wrote OPR. Their debts to drug dealers are not my problem. And nor are they the taxpayers. And that agent telling people he knew, that's where March 27, 25, an FBI agent got it out of that family that was saying that it offended them. That Strange called me a faker 6 months after an accident I had nothing to do with, that they were all lying in that office to help get away with this. They were all in there defrauding him, trying to steal money from him. It was all from Mary's family's debt to drug dealers. I told you Strange hated the government. They were just, like the investigator said, does that agent realize that all those people in his office were there just to rob him? So where you guys run around laughing, what are you really laughing at? People being killed? Some fentanyl dealers down here running havoc? You're acting like a bunch of jackasses? Then what the hell is that agent doing running around with drug dealers? And act like he's helping them. Even that family said they were all in that office lying. And then you can't kill someone because somebody says you were offended at something that had nothing to do with you and you didn't like what they said about the other person. And it was 15 years later. And then you didn't even go to their church and they had to hunt you down. It's that sick and morbid. December 1st, 25. Where the pretty Michelle has been telling on him. Okay? This guy walks into Walmart 62. Michelle showed up at my office and said this whole thing is a scam to extort money out from the government. Her ex-husband was involved. They all were. And that the doctor from before was not one of hers. Works for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. And that guy Pete running his mouth about her, he's just some guy Dave hired on his own too, and she don't even know who he is. And they admitted to using hypnotic drugs when they drugged her and told her to say it before, and she has no memory of those people. And the tape of Weird with Yourself is nothing but photoshopped and washing in the shower. The whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Now break it down to that. Mary's family was in there just to scam the FBI out of money. Now think of that agent. And they were all lying in there with their pathetic little skit, their little round of applause for the best actors. Oh, we were offended. Oh my God, he called her a faker 50 years ago. It offended us. Oh, gag me with a spoon. And another idiot saying, she hasn't been part of our church in 15 years. She threatened me. Where would I threaten her? I already told the hotline I had no contact with those people. See, that's where the whole thing, they had to know they were lying. That I only visited twice in 2011 when they were making up stories on me. Couldn't figure out why. Hadn't been back. Well, how would you know? They're telling people I know in the mall. Otherwise, I'd have no idea. It was them if they wouldn't been bragging. I want you to think of that. So that agent knew they were all in there lying. Then Katie coming out, she never threatened me. She wouldn't give me the time of day, so we were getting even with her because she walked by and went and talked to me. You're not the God of glory and the great I am, honey. You're a thief and extortionist, human trafficker, but not the great I am. None of these people are, but people worship them like gods. Everybody needs to be turning them in. It's just a big drug scam. That's all it is. It's a big drug scam. From drug dealers. And that girl trying to steal from the government to pay back her drug debt and give her a cushy life. Like they said, they want to set it up that they never have to work again in their life. They break that years ago. I'm going to upload this.